Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Holden and Claire take a dangerous adventure in response to Jack's SOS to Victoria. Before Claire Newman receives an alluring invitation, Jack Abbott will send Victoria Newman an SOS. Here's what Y&R fans should anticipate. Billy Abbott will also be under pressure over Jill Abbott. Phyllis Summers will suspect that Michael Baldwin is hiding something about his new fixer job and the reason he is actually working for Kane Ashby during. Kane will admit to Amanda Sinclair that Michael is lying to Billy, who won't actually have authority over the AI software if the transaction goes through, while Phyllis questions Michael. Adam Newman wants to test the AI program and ruin Abbott communications since he expects Victor Newman to score it instead. Once Adam provides Chelsea Lawson with updates, she may have some doubts about that, but he will encourage her to remain open-minded and concentrate on what will help the Newmans. He'll put pressure on Billy to reconcile with Jill once he's back with Kane. Billy will find it difficult, but Kane will be sure that everyone will ultimately be happier. Kane will also prove he can be extremely charming when he wants to be, so watch for him to spend a little time dragging Lily Winters closer. Jack will attempt to alert Nikki Newman about the impending devastation in Genoa City caused by Victor, Kane, and possibly Billy as well. Since Jack is the father of her children, he may require Victoria's assistance with Victor or perhaps Billy, as he may eventually send Victoria an SOS. In any case, Victor and Billy are both so obstinate that Victoria might not be able to contribute anything. Billy will, however, encounter some kind of obstacle, so we'll see if it has an impact on the agreement he wishes to reach with Kane. In any event, Kane will consider it crucial that everyone on his team gather for a brainstorming session. Daniel Romalotti Jr. will then be persuaded by Mariah Copeland to meet with her alone in the park, where they may discuss his feelings for Tessa Porter and his future plans. Christine Blair will try on the 3 bridal gowns that Lauren Fenmore Baldwin agreed to bring to her so she can consider her options. Michael Meala's character Kyle Abbott's attempt to encourage Claire to start again won't work out. Instead, there will be further difficulties, particularly if Claire forces Kyle to apologize to Holden Novak. The week of September 22nd to 26th will present additional difficulties, thus Kyle's possessive behavior can resurface. Claire will be intrigued by Holden's invitation, and the two of them will embark on a little journey. Kyle might give Holden another piece of his mind and lash out at Claire as well if he learns that news or even if he sees them staring too closely for comfort. Phyllis will have plenty of time to plan the mischief she can cause at the big celebration later on because there will be some delays in the wedding ceremony for Christine and Danny Romalotti. When she returns to Chelsea, she will discover that she is slipping back into her cunning ways, therefore she will be willing to go as low as Adam Newman. As Chelsea demonstrates her capacity to become a bit more wicked, any lingering issues will disappear. Holden and Claire take a dangerous adventure in response to Jack's SOS to Victoria. And while it begins as an impulsive decision driven by adrenaline and emotion, it quickly spirals into something that will alter the trajectory of not only their relationship but also the fates of nearly everyone connected to the Newman, Abbott, and Ashby families. Because just as Jack Abbott makes the desperate call to Victoria Newman begging her to intervene in what he fears will become a full-scale corporate war ignited by Victor Newman, Kane Ashby, and possibly even Billy Abbott, Claire finds herself drawn into the crossfire, her loyalty tested between her family obligations and the unexpected connection she is forming with Holden Novak, who has quietly been waiting for a moment like this to prove not only his devotion to her but his ability to stand up against forces far larger than either of them could have anticipated. And the adventure begins with a cryptic clue slipped into Victoria's hand, a thin scrap of paper that carries Jack's plea and a warning about Kane's deceptive new plan. One that involves Michael Baldwin's supposed fixer role for Kane but in reality hides a dangerous lie about the authority over the AI software project that has the power to bring Abbott Communications crashing to its knees. Because while Phyllis Summers grows more suspicious by the day that Michael isn't telling her the full truth about why he has suddenly aligned himself with Kane, Amanda Sinclair receives a startling admission from Kane himself that Billy is essentially being duped into believing he will hold control when, in fact, Michael is simply stringing him along to secure Kane's victory. And as Phyllis pushes Michael harder with her questions, determined to peel back the layers of his half-truths, Adam Newman lurks in the background ready to unleash chaos by testing the AI program himself, believing that if Victor were to gain control of it, the Newman empire would grow even more untouchable. So his best strategy is to sabotage Abbott communications before his father can secure his own triumph, a move that forces Chelsea Lawson into the uncomfortable position of being Adam's confidant yet again, as he assures her to keep an open mind and focus on the larger picture of protecting the Newmans, though Chelsea's instincts scream that Adam's tactics will drag them all down a destructive path, and while Adam sets his sights on forcing Billy Abbott into reconciliation with Jill Abbott, insisting that once Billy makes peace with Jill, Kane can wield even more leverage, Billy himself finds the pressure unbearable, caught between his desire to chart his own destiny and the manipulations of Kane, who presents himself as endlessly charming and persuasive, especially with Lily Winters, who once again feels that familiar pull toward Kane as he gently but firmly drags her deeper into his orbit, all while Jack tries desperately to warn Nicky Newman that the storm building in Genoa City is about to explode, and since Jack knows that Victor, Kane, and even Billy himself are too stubborn to be swayed, he sees Victoria as his only hope for preventing irreversible damage, but Victoria, though deeply loyal, doubts whether she can truly make a difference against two men as iron-willed as her father and Billy, leaving the field wide open for Holden and Claire to step into the breach when they overhear Victoria weighing Jack's SOS and debating whether she should involve herself at all, and Claire, driven by equal parts curiosity and the subtle magnetic pull she feels toward Holden, agrees to accompany him when he suggests they investigate Jack's warning themselves, a choice that sets them on a dangerous path through hidden agendas, late-night meetings, and whispered betrayals that threaten to expose truths even Victoria doesn't yet realize. While elsewhere Kane insists on gathering his team for an urgent brainstorming session meant to secure his victory once and for all, a move that pushes Daniel Romalotti Jr. into Mariah Copeland's orbit when she convinces him to meet her privately at the park to talk about his conflicted feelings for Tessa Porter and the crossroads in his future. And even as Christine Blair tries on the 3 bridal gowns Lauren Fenmore Baldwin has delivered, weighing the future she hopes to secure with Danny Romalotti, Phyllis plots how she can disrupt the upcoming celebration, her mind churning with schemes as she observes delays in Christine and Danny's wedding preparations, delays that grant her just enough time to weave mischief into the proceedings. And while Kyle Abbott makes another doomed attempt to persuade Claire to hit the reset button with him, his possessive nature resurfaces the moment he senses her growing closeness to Holden, particularly when whispers of their adventure begin to circulate, forcing Kyle to consider lashing out both at Claire and Holden in a desperate attempt to reassert control. But Claire, emboldened by Holden's invitation and their shared danger, refuses to bow to Kyle's jealousy, instead leaning into the thrill of the risk as she and Holden uncover just how deep Kane's scheme runs, how dangerously Michael Baldwin is playing both sides, and how Adam Newman is prepared to burn Abbott Communications to the ground if it means cutting Victor off from a legacy-building triumph. And as Claire edges closer to Holden during their journey, a spark between them grows impossible to ignore, even while danger snaps at their heels and Kyle's obsession threatens to explode into open confrontation, leaving Y&R fans with a storm of corporate intrigue, romantic tension, and family warfare that will only intensify when the week of September 22nd to 26th arrives, bringing with it new obstacles, resurgent rivalries, and the devastating fallout of choices made under the guise of loyalty but shadowed by ambition, manipulation, and the irresistible lure of danger. As Holden and Claire push deeper into the shadows of Jack's SOS, the danger escalates in ways neither of them fully anticipated, because what began as a simple curiosity, a decision to follow a thread Victoria seemed unwilling to pull, quickly turns into a labyrinth of secrets where every corner threatens to expose betrayal and every whispered word carries the weight of someone's carefully guarded agenda. And Claire, whose past has already been tainted by manipulations and betrayals that left her cautious about trusting too easily, finds herself shocked by how much she is leaning on Holden, whose steady confidence and ability to read between the lines make him the perfect partner in this perilous dance. And together they uncover evidence that Kane Ashby's plan is more sinister than even Jack's warning suggested, for not only has Kane leveraged Michael Baldwin's fixer role as a smokescreen for stripping Billy Abbott of any real authority, but he has also begun constructing a side deal that could permanently entangle Newman Enterprises and Abbott Communications in a war they cannot easily extricate themselves from. And Claire, seeing this through fresh eyes, realizes that Jack's desperation stems not just from fear of corporate ruin but from the knowledge that once Victor and Kane lock horns, nothing short of total destruction will satisfy either of them, and Holden, ever pragmatic, points out that this kind of devastation could ripple far beyond the business world, pulling families, friendships, and romances into the storm's path, which only strengthens Claire's resolve to dig deeper despite the personal risk, especially as she recalls how often the people around her have kept her in the dark and how much she wants, for once, to be the person who uncovers the truth instead of being a pawn in someone else's game. And so while Adam Newman sharpens his plan to unleash the AI program as a weapon to sabotage Abbott communications before Victor can seize it, confiding to Chelsea Lawson that this is the only way to tip the balance of power back in his favor and encouraging her to stop doubting his methods and focus on protecting their family's interests, Claire and Holden sneak into an Orpheus meeting where Kane outlines his grand vision to his closest allies. A chilling presentation that makes it clear Kane is not just trying to outwit Billy or secure a seat at the table but is positioning himself to become a kingmaker whose influence could overshadow both the Abbotts and the Newmans. And when Claire whispers to Holden that this is bigger than she imagined, Holden squeezes her hand under the table, silently reassuring her that they are in this together, even as the danger of being discovered at any moment keeps their hearts pounding. And back on the Abbott side of the story, Billy's inner turmoil only deepens as he tries to reconcile the pressure from Kane with his strained relationship with Jill Abbott, who pushes him to accept Kane's overtures as a way to stabilize his future. But Billy can't shake the nagging feeling that he is being played for a fool, especially once Phyllis Summers corners him with insinuations that Michael Baldwin is hiding something, her sharp instincts zeroing in on the inconsistencies in Michael's story, though Michael, ever the skilled manipulator, tries to deflect her suspicion with charm and legal jargon, but Phyllis is relentless, and as she chips away at his facade, Michael starts to realize that his carefully woven lies could unravel far sooner than Kane anticipates, putting everyone's plan at risk. And meanwhile, Daniel Romalotti Jr. finds himself caught in Mariah Copeland's earnest plea at the park, as she gently but firmly pushes him to confront his feelings for Tessa Porter and consider what he really wants for his future. A heart-to-heart that forces Daniel to confront his own fears about love, commitment, and whether he is ready to take risks of the heart while the world around him is burning with corporate betrayal. And elsewhere, Christine Blair spins in circles as she models the 3 bridal gowns Lauren Fenmore Baldwin has brought her, each one representing not just a choice of fabric and style but a reflection of the life she envisions with Danny Romalotti, though the looming specter of Phyllis Summers hangs over every fitting, every glance in the mirror, because Christine knows Phyllis will stop at nothing to disrupt her happiness, and Phyllis, meanwhile, relishes the delays in the wedding preparations, seeing them as a golden opportunity to fine-tune her schemes. And when she later returns to Chelsea Lawson, she finds herself drawn into a darker, more manipulative mindset, mirroring Adam's ruthless energy and proving that she, too, can go just as low when it comes to protecting her desires and tearing down those she despises. And while Kyle Abbott continues to push Claire to give him another chance, his desperation curdling into possessiveness, Claire only feels more suffocated by his attempts to control her, especially as her bond with Holden deepens through their shared danger. And when Kyle catches wind of their clandestine adventure, his jealousy flares into rage, causing him to lash out not just at Holden but at Claire herself, accusing her of betraying him yet again. And Claire, who has long grown tired of being controlled by men's egos, stands her ground, refusing to apologize for choosing her own path, and Holden, stepping between them, delivers a warning to Kyle that makes it clear he will not tolerate Claire being mistreated or diminished, setting the stage for a volatile showdown that could turn physical if Kyle's insecurities continue to boil over. But even as this personal drama escalates, the larger storm looms ever closer, with Victor Newman positioning himself to strike, Kane tightening his grip on his allies, Adam ready to unleash technological chaos, and Jack praying that Victoria will respond to his SOS before it is too late, though Victoria herself remains torn between her instinct to protect her family and her awareness that stepping into the middle of this war could paint a target on her back. And while she hesitates, Holden and Claire continue their dangerous journey, piecing together documents, secret recordings, and insider whispers that paint a damning picture of Kane's ambition and the role Michael has played in enabling it. And though Claire knows that exposing the truth could put her directly in Victor's line of fire, she also knows she cannot walk away, not now, not when Holden has risked so much to help her, not when the fate of Genoa City itself seems to hang in the balance. And as the week of September 22nd to 26th approaches, the stakes climb higher, with Billy facing an obstacle that could shatter his tentative alliance with Kane, Kane rallying his team for one last push, Phyllis perfecting her plans for chaos at Christine and Danny's wedding, and Holden and Claire standing at the precipice of both danger and desire, knowing that their choices will either save the city from devastation or plunge it into a new era of betrayal, rivalry, and heartbreak that no one, not Victor, not Jack, not even Victoria herself, will be able to stop. As the shadows lengthen over Genoa City, Holden and Claire find themselves in even greater peril, because their decision to act on Jack's SOS instead of waiting for Victoria has opened doors that were never meant to be unlocked, doors hiding secrets Kane Ashby has been desperate to bury. And as they sift through encrypted files and cryptic notes stolen from Kane's inner circle, Claire begins to realize just how deep the web of deception goes, with Michael Baldwin's fixer facade unraveling at every turn and proving that he has been less of an ally and more of a co-conspirator enabling Kane's rise. And though Holden urges caution, warning her that Kane has eyes and ears everywhere and that one wrong step could blow their cover, Claire insists on pressing forward, her voice trembling not with fear but with a fiery determination that shocks Holden, because he knows that for all her strength, Claire has never been tested on a battlefield quite like this, a battlefield where corporate rivalry and personal vendettas bleed into threats of violence, blackmail, and betrayal. And as Claire pores over the evidence they've uncovered, she sees clearly now that Kane has no intention of simply outmaneuvering Billy Abbott or securing leverage over Abbott Communications. His ambitions stretch toward building an empire where even Victor Newman would have to bend. A dangerous game that could ignite a Newman-Abbott-Ashby war unlike anything the city has ever seen. And while Jack prays that Victoria will answer his SOS in time, Victoria continues to wrestle with indecision, torn between her instinct to protect her family and her understanding that stepping into this war could mean sacrificing pieces of herself. And all the while Adam Newman lurks in the background, whispering to Chelsea Lawson about how close he is to pulling the trigger on the AI sabotage that will ruin Abbott Communications before Victor can claim it, convincing Chelsea to look past her doubts and stand with him. Though her conscience gnaws at her as she wonders if Adam is leading them down a road of no return. And elsewhere, Billy Abbott stumbles into yet another confrontation with Jill, whose insistence that he reconcile with Kane feels like a dagger twisting in his gut. Because though he wants to make peace with his mother, he cannot shake the feeling that he is being cornered, played like a pawn in a chess game Kane has already mastered. And when Phyllis Summers slides up to Billy with her sharp smile and sharper words, planting seeds of doubt about Michael Baldwin's true loyalties, Billy feels the ground beneath him begin to crumble, unsure who he can trust, unsure if he even knows what battle he's fighting anymore, while Phyllis herself grows more emboldened, her suspicions about Michael transforming into a dangerous plan of her own. Because if Michael truly is lying to Kane and Billy both, then she intends to expose him at the perfect moment, turning the chaos to her advantage, and, as she plots, she still finds the energy to fantasize about wreaking havoc at Christine Blair and Danny Romalotti's wedding, a celebration she sees less as a romantic union and more as an opportunity to remind everyone that she cannot be underestimated or ignored. And as Christine twirls in Lauren Fenmore Baldwin's bridal gowns, her smile faltering each time she imagines Phyllis's smirk disrupting her big day, Danny tries to reassure her, but Christine cannot shake the gnawing fear that the woman who has haunted her life will strike again just when she least expects it. And meanwhile Mariah Copeland's heart-to-heart with Daniel Romalotti Jr. stirs emotions neither of them were prepared for, with Daniel confessing how conflicted he feels about Tessa Porter and the life he envisions for himself, unsure whether he can balance his personal desires with the chaos-consuming Genoa City. And Mariah, though deeply loyal to Tessa, finds herself wondering if she has pushed too hard, if by trying to help Daniel, she has unlocked feelings and vulnerabilities that could complicate her own happiness. Yet even as these personal dramas unfold, the central storm continues to build, with Kane rallying his team for another high-stakes brainstorming session, presenting himself as a visionary leader even as Holden and Claire lurk in the shadows, collecting intel and realizing that Kane's charm is just another weapon in his arsenal, one that he wields as easily with Lily Winters as he does with his rivals. And Lily, though wary, finds herself softening again under Kane's gaze, forgetting the betrayals of the past and allowing herself to believe, however briefly, that he might be capable of redemption. But Holden sees the trap for what it is and warns Claire not to underestimate how dangerous Kane can be when he wants something. And Claire, caught between the world she has always known and the world Holden is opening to her, feels the weight of her choices pressing down. And when Kyle Abbott corners her with another demand for a second chance, his words laced with jealousy and desperation. Claire finally snaps, telling him in no uncertain terms that she is done being suffocated by his insecurities, done being guilt-tripped for choosing her own path, and Holden, stepping in with quiet strength, makes it clear to Kyle that if he cannot respect Claire's choices, then he will answer to him, a confrontation that leaves Kyle simmering with resentment, his possessiveness threatening to explode into something even more destructive. And as Holden and Claire retreat into the night to plan their next move, they find themselves drawn closer, the adrenaline of their adventure blurring the lines between duty and desire. And though Claire tells herself she cannot afford distractions, the way Holden looks at her, steady, unwavering, protective, makes her heart pound in ways she thought she had long since buried. And in that charged moment she realizes that this dangerous journey is not just about uncovering Kane's lies or saving Genoa City from collapse, but about reclaiming her own power, her own right to choose, even if that choice carries consequences she cannot yet foresee. And so when they uncover evidence that Michael Baldwin has been double-dealing not just with Kane but with a shadowy third party whose identity remains hidden, Claire feels the floor shift beneath her again, because if Michael is truly playing all sides, then the danger is far greater than even Jack feared, and Holden, tightening his grip on the documents, promises her that whatever storm comes, they will face it together, unaware that Adam Newman is even now preparing to set his plan into motion, unaware that Phyllis is sharpening her knives for both Michael and Christine, unaware that Kyle's possessive jealousy could soon turn violent, and unaware that Victoria Newman, still clutching Jack's SOS, may finally be forced to choose whether to stand aside or step into the war that threatens to consume them all. And with every passing hour, the stakes rise, the betrayals deepen, and the line between victory and destruction grows ever thinner, setting the stage for a week where no one will escape unscathed, where alliances will crumble, and where Holden and Claire's dangerous adventure may end in triumph, heartbreak, or devastation, but will certainly change everything forever.